Oh, audience. Didn't see you there. It's been 80 days since our last confession. Welcome back to Warhammer 40K Imperium Maledictum Titanslair, Season 2, Episode 5. You've walked right into a high-impact introduction, smacking you in the face.
48 days. It was 80 days since Twilight 2000.
Oh, sorry. We were talking about, we were talking about Twilight 2000, and I got... Now, I refuse to be sidetracked. Instead, we start totally black screen on your television. A slow fade in to a massive banner in front of a pillar. And as the camera slowly rises, we can see that the banner is full of sigilry of the Imperium, specifically of the Administratum. It stretches for a ridiculous amount of time before finally reaching the top and then pulling back. And we can see that this is no pillar. It is, in fact, just a extremely tall, 60-foot tall desk, of which 8 are set in a cardinal points, all facing towards a center area of 8 administrators. And these administrators are men, old men, very old men by imperial status, that are weighed down. Many of them have charcoal or ashy robes, but one of them has robes that are almost white. The switchback steps to get up to where these men sit are filled with functionaries who are passing papers up and down the way. They're bucket brigading paperwork in either direction, and the men sitting at the table are so far apart from each other that they have to use voxcasters to communicate. Something changes in the chamber. Everyone stops working, and the most ancient and wizened of all of the administrators at the top, the one whose robes are almost white, presses the button down on his voxcaster and says, "Attention! I call to order this meeting of the Tithes Chambers Notary Subset Planetary Census. There is no need for an imperial prayer, for everything that we do is a prayer in service to the Imperium. So let us get straight into business with no deviation from our cause. I fear that a disaster we have not been closely tracking has come to destroy imperial bureaucracy and upend Holy Terra forever." And then, like, the echo of him saying forever several times throughout the chamber. Someone that's on, like, 40 foot up on the staircase, like, faints and falls backwards and dies from the fall.
It's Holly, isn't it? The threat is Holly.
I have had notarized and annotated the charts you are all receiving now. As you can see here, our planetary census pie charts have run out of colors. Using the full spectrum of hex code RGB in order to subset designate the location of a planet in relation to its distance from Holy Terra, and then the individual cultural groups that belong to Terra, allowing for a brightening or darkening of the shade and hue of their specific subtypes, i.e., as an example, whether one belongs to the Administratum or whether one is a Adeptus Astartes. So it is that with the Imperium's re-establishment of the other side of the Cicatrix Maledictum and the introduction of the subset Primaris Space Marines, and finally, the burgeoning increase in departments issued by the Imperial Commander of all forces, Primarch Robute Gilamon, we have finally run out of colors. There are over 17 million colors displayed on this chart. I have consulted with Archmagos Belisarius Call as to what can be done without impacting the accuracy of the data. And he has suggested that we may have our eyes expanded in the range of colors that it can see via cybernetic replacement or consultation with a Magos Biologist. However, I am hesitant to put this entire council of the Tithes Chambers Notaries subset planetary census into the hands of another distinctly separate religious department. As he stops speaking, depart. All of the other 7 members are like yelling at each other. Some of them are standing up. It's a real senatorial scene going on here. Everything's devolving into chaos. We cut to the camera going down, following the banners down, all the way down to the bottom. We can see that at the bottom, in front of their podium banners, there is a second council that is taking place on the ground floor that is filled with a different kind of chaos, with younger men whose robes are considerably darker. And so it is that I tell you that this meeting of the Tithes Chambers Notary subset planetary census, subset the processorium, that the end of Holy Terra is coming. Our supply of vellum has been impacted by transport shortages. Without the acquisition of more porcine within the next 5 solar rotations, we will not be able to keep up the amount of paperwork that our bureaucracy is used for. And everyone at the bottom of these banners is like, oh my goodness, no vellum? What will we write on? Data slates? What are we? Administrative men? Or are we instead Adeptus Mechanicus? And just like lots of highfalutin, very spirited debate. 2 men are like in an argument with each other where one of them's like, we will seize the porcine that we need. Look here, I have a report saying we can get them from Crueltis. And so it is that every day a new disaster strikes Holy Terra and the Administratum, which are prevented by councils such as these making decisions in 3 to 5 business weeks. We cut instead to a man who looks somewhat like our rogue trader Chaderius Darkwind, but is clearly 6 inches shorter, and his beard is a bit more scraggly. It looks like a stunt double for him. And he's wearing a like cartoonishly rogue trader outfit, you know, naval cap. He's carrying a sword. He's got 2 pistols at his belt, and he's walking down a very typically Imperium corridor, turning to look at the camera and says, oh, didn't see you there. I'm rogue trader Chaderius Darkwind. And then we see a wall bust open and a dude who is not an orc, but is clearly dressed and like green painted like an orc goes, ah, and like cuts his head off, blood sprays everywhere. You know, you never know when you're going to be attacked by filthy Xenos. In order to keep strong, I need to keep the biofuel that goes into my body at the highest level of quality and quantity. That's why I recommend Papa Oinker's Perpetual Stew. Coming to a nearby moon and Adeptus Mechanicus planet near you. Yes, if you want to keep your tired, hungry workers at the top level of performance for bottom level prices, contact us now. Look up POP $ on the local exchange for more information. We hear someone go, cut! And someone's like, all right, that's good. Good roll. We're going to do it again. Take it back from the top. 5-minute break, everybody. Okay. So somebody's like, all right, make sure to get that tape aside. That's for the local market. Let's get something ready for mass release into the rest of Becarius. Get that script. Somebody's like, fucking writer's totally useless. We fade from that scene now to the actual game in play. Velamris, you have met with the sister of the governor, who you've decided to flirt with and maybe make babies with. She has taken you deeper into the hall ship where the feast is taking place so that she can explain to you how things work out. You had an opportunity to interface with the mysterious black-bannered knight with the axe, who you've been very interested about, but rather than talk to him, you allowed yourself to be pulled away. So he still remains somewhere in the feast, never quite receiving the aid or mission that they are required. Rassie, you met with an individual called Etoi, and you also met directly with the governor / leader of all of the knights here, and, of course, the leader of the house, the Margrave Ansgara. You made fast friends with Etui, and he indicated that there might be a position of knighthood and honor for you if you ever decide to switch into the service of Margrave Ansgara and House it's been so long since I've said these words. Sorry, it's taking me a second. Vandensarg. I'm not gonna make a Dimension 20 reference. No one's gonna get it. Chancellor Prilbus. And
yeah,
then,
I didn't get it.
Holly, you've blatantly lied to people about the genetic worth of Velamris's code.
I've enhanced his genetic worth.
I'm going to stand by my original statement. I don't need to.
Walk it back.
I don't need to walk around that one. Yeah, so we cut back to the scene in progress. Rassie, you and Etui are drinking and having a good time. He seems relatively nonplussed around you. Just like a chill dude to be vibing with. He's actually super excited about you being nearby, although he does seem to be in physical pain from time to time, like someone who just got done doing an intense workout and hasn't really rested. Velamris, you are being led deeper into the feast ship while you're being horny on main. And yeah, Holly, you've been kind of passive here. I will say that you have received several communications about the 3 people who you had met with: Lionel Chutney Bree, Roswald Shorthalls Worthington, and director Chelsea Maria Alexandria Elizabeth. You had wanted to double check on what all of them personally wanted in communications with you, and you have received messages back, but they are physical messages waiting for you on your shuttle.
Okay.
They've sent you thank you cards for meeting with them.
The calling cards.
Yes. What would you all like to do?
Well, I kind of want to start by seeing how far Velamris can take himself into a hole.
Well, Velamris is also one. No, I really should not make that comment. No, not going to make that comment. There's a lot of things that I'm willing to say, but I recognize that I should probably just not say them.
All I can do is hand Velamris to ET. He's got to take care of the hole himself.
Velamris is going to go for his short-term goal and seal the deal with the governor's sister, I suppose, whose name I still don't remember.
You don't
Probably not
remember
a good
her
start
name?
to the relationship.
Listen, Velamris is just trying to live life a little bit, you know?
Sorry, he's trying to live life a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay.
do his imperial duties of attempting to propagate the human race.
Okay. You tell
Every
me how
imperial-
you want to try to seal the deal here.
Listen, I'm not the one.
Do you have to draw your picture, AP? Did your parents not cover this off?
There's books on this. There's whole websites, in fact.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm asking how this man's running game, and he's trying to avoid answering the question. There are many ways to seal the deal here, man. And not all of them require physical action, I should say. So I feel entirely justified for trying to base what's eventually going to be a roll on your actions.
That's
I'm
fair.
not going to
Okay.
have a birds and the bees discussion with this council here live on television. But I assure you, I did get through health class. Don't worry about that one, my man. Jesus. We're
All right,
getting
so she's-
dangerously close to Twitch thought arenas here, guys.
Yeah, I know. That's why I had to kind of take it easy here. She's leading him deeper into the ship for what, like she was doing like a walk around the feast hall,
Yes.
and
She's
then
leading you into the underbelly. So imagine the ship is long like a French loaf, and
Sure.
the feast hall is like a flat, long hall that runs the whole length of the ship.
Okay.
All of the things needed to run the ship and for places for people to sleep and such, like crew quarters, the bridge, all are underneath you. And she is
Okay.
taking you down deeper into the ship. Now, it should also be noted, this ship is their actual palace back on their home planet. So it is made of like ancient stones and such. It
Right.
just takes off whenever they need it to, holding as many of their knights as it can carry.
I think he's gonna. God, he is going to just kind of go with the flow, because Velamris doesn't really do much of this sort of thing. But he's also very curious about how this works. So he's just going to kind of go with the flow and try to make what he believes are subtle suggestions of maybe we should disappear for a few minutes over there, or, find a quiet room somewhere.
Ooh. What skill would you say going with the flow would be?
Charm.
I'll buy that. Go ahead.
It's not a very good number for me, so I'm definitely gonna, as per tradition, as per the council has ordained, I will be spending fate points.
First roll of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think I have any talents. Yeah, no. Yeah, unfortunately, this is where all my talents, being almost entirely combat oriented, do not help. So let's see. Where is it? Charm. I will use a fate point for advantage. How many fate points can I use on our single roll?
One before the roll to give you advantage, one after the roll to add a degree of success, and potentially one to do a re-roll.
Okay, yeah.
He's gonna
So I'll
use
just
all his fate points on one roll.
Don't worry, you can
Just-
clean yourself out real quick.
He's going to shoot his shot, AP.
I'm using
I'm
fate.
trying to let him shoot his shot, and everybody else wants to
Oh,
yak back at me.
man.
Wow.
I am
70,
absolutely-
absolutely destroyed.
I'm absolutely re-rolling that.
Okay. 79. Amazing.
Against a 26. That's disgusting. That's slightly better, so I guess I can now use
1 point to get you to
Third-
0
bring it to
degrees.
0.
yeah, so that's 1, 2, 3 points that I've used. Seems about normal.
All right. I need you to make a discipline test.
Let's see.
It's against
Discipline
normal
this?
difficulty.
I don't suppose this has anything to do with fear, huh?
No.
Okay. And challenging.
If I was there, you get
Hold
advantage.
on.
But
Hold
you're
on.
not there.
Hold on. Do I have something? I have discipline, but it came up automatically with advantage. Now I'm trying to figure out why.
You should be able to mouse over the advantage. It should tell you why, I think.
Oh, I think it might actually be because I'm in the party with you.
Yeah, because we're on the board, and your miniature might be within the distance of my miniature to get you inside my aura.
Is that what that is?
If you can
Okay.
remove that, that would be great.
I should be able to just.
I move myself up.
We go the same way. That's amazing. No, stop moving. We just come down here. Go way down there. Okay. Could you slide faster, please? Thank you. All right, discipline. No. All right, I'm just gonna roll a normal, and then yeah, I'll just roll that. Oh, holy shit! Okay. Wow. I guess I was not meant to.
Was that all of your fate?
I did. I'm debating if I want to use my last 2 fate points on this next roll. Like, do I re-roll this? You know what? I am going to re-roll it just for shits and giggles.
Man's throwing rocks. Nope. Oh boy,
Slightly
you cannot
better.
buy yourself out.
I really cannot.
You take a point of corruption.
Oh, we're back to that game. Okay, I'm curious to know how I got corruption, but go ahead.
Yes. So, just to be clear, Velamris does not realize this is happening to him.
Sure.
You head deeper into the ship, and you go from a feast hall where people are playing woodwinds and zethers and dulcimers, and you transition to the club scene from Blade. Like synth instruments, it's extremely dark. It's not lit by like torches or anything. Everything is like strobe lit LEDs. People are moshing down here to like synth music. It's absolutely wild party where people are just taking their clothes off. It's too hot for this television. You know, that's why it's dark mostly, so you don't see anything accidentally. We don't. Yeah, we're not HBO or Showtime. You know what I mean? We're cable. So yeah, and you begin dancing with this woman, and at some point your partners switch several times, and you're just like having an absolutely wild time out of your mind, and you get some small amount of chaos corruption in your heart. People are just handing you food and drinks, asking you what you want, doing whatever you ask. It's a fucking wild party. And from what you can tell, they do this 24/7.
Well, now the corruption makes a lot more sense with this eternal party thing.
We'll see you again in a little bit.
Sure.
Rassie, you wanted to watch Velamris suffer. Let's cut back to you.
So I have in my notes that he was described as like he's got some very obvious like former injuries.
Yeah.
And he looks like he's uncomfortable right now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if this is inappropriate. I'm still learning a little here, but are your injuries bothering you?
Yeah. Also, I just got some fresh, let's say, tattoos. Just some things. It's a little bit more painful than I expected. It wasn't hurting me that much a while ago.
A painful tattoo.
Yes.
Must be something exotic.
I wouldn't think so.
Fair enough.
So, common practice around my family.
I have to admit I don't know much. I'm sorry if it's rude that I'm not familiar with the family's traditions.
I would not expect someone who was not born to a knight family to understand our traditions, but there is no doubt in my mind that you could rise to the occasion if you were to marry into our family. You seem to be a man of unique talent and unusual service.
Well, the Emperor has certainly seen fit for me to walk a path that I didn't expect, but I have certainly done my best to embrace.
At that moment, you hear alarms going off at the front end of the feast hall, like where the nose of the ship would be, and someone is shouting very loudly, like, "It's the Skitarii! The Skitarii are coming!" And like people are screaming. Servants have come in to like remove the tables out of the way very quickly, like with all the dishes on it, like, and knights are beginning to run to their machines, and you see that the Margrave, that's not what it is, that's the German word. No, it is called Margrave. The Margrave of Malir and Zgara Vandersarg is like, "Hold, all of you! I know that we fear the sacristans, but we have no evidence that this Skitarii fleet hold discipline and unity." And everyone's like, "Unity! Discipline and unity are the cornerstone of our house. I will go to the censor consuls and get a full sweep of what is happening. Remain here." And Angsara turns to you, Rassie, and says, "You are intimately familiar with the situation down on the moon, yes?
Somewhat, yes.
Might I beg your presence on our bridge to help interpret what we're seeing? I am afraid that my own staff may be biased towards the actions of the Adeptus Mechanicus."
I will certainly do my best.
So he leads you down further into the ship to the bridge where you can see the whatever the Warhammer 40K version of a radar monitor. This is like really old tech. It's not just Warhammer 40K old, it's like Battlestar Galactica Dratus dish old sort of deal. Like, you know, it's not even holographic. You're looking at a sonar panel, bleep bloops of ships approaching the moon. They
Beep, sweeps, and creeps.
Yes. They appear to be moving directly for the Alpha sediment and seem to be troop carriers. Delivering, I mean, they all register as being Skitarii, and they seem to be just landing directly over the mines.
So this is totally out of nowhere for Rassie. Wasn't aware of anything that would attract their attention there. Is this a large enough force that it looks like it's an invasion, or does it look more like a procession?
I would like whatever passes for tech use from you.
Oh, tech use. Ooh, okay. So we're going to start with a fate point.
Wow. We're just so, yeah, that's how it's going to be today, huh?
I imagine we're going to use the tech skill.
We're nailing all of our shitty rolls right off the bat.
May your dice roll better than mine.
Nope. Let's
No,
try
they
that.
are not.
Astounding failure.
Let's try that again.
Can I quickly jump in with something? I just want to quickly explain something here.
Yes.
I was looking at it because I have like 900 XP to spend, so I thought I should spend some XP. So I thought I would download my notepad document with what I'm planning to spend XP on from my OneDrive, and then Windows Explorer stopped responding. And so I loaded it on my phone and tried to open PDF like Acrobat so I could read the book, and it stopped responding. So I opened up Task Manager to try and end the task, but Task Manager stopped responding.
Oh my God.
You're having a time of it, my man.
I'm here for you, but if I'm suddenly not, you know, it's because this computer has just exploded.
Yep. Gotcha.
James's real world tech skill rolls are failing.
All right, you have a -0 on this. You could get yourself over to a +0, or as others know it, a 0.
I would like to be at a +0.
Somewhere out there, someone working on L'Hôpital's rule is going insane at the idea of -0. Okay. You seize control of the console from the tech who's using it. And it's clear that these guys have like some rudimentary idea on how to use this thing as a ship. But you're rapidly coming to the conclusion that they probably weren't alive last time this thing went into orbit. You know what I mean? Like, these guys know because someone explained it to them, but they've never used this tech in the way that they're using it before. And so you get in there, you beep boop, you punch in, and you get to watch some Skitarii that are leading gun servitors just absolutely wiping out all of the miners. Just you know, like, and like bolter fire reaping through them. The miners are completely caught by surprise with this. The gun servitors begin dragging the dead bodies of the miners away onto like a waiting medical ship, which appears to be making the miners into servitors.
Are these the same miners that
Yes.
Velamris met with?
Yep.
And did Velamris go to that meeting by himself?
Yep.
No, I took what's his name with me, but I didn't take the other two.
Oh yes,
player
you
characters.
took
Luther.
no, I think you took the other one. You took Gifanovius.
Sure. I think the bigger distinction I was looking for was if I had taken these guys with.
Nope.
But I guess I didn't.
You did not.
Okay.
Yeah, as I see it, I describe what I'm seeing. I give the update with what I can tell from this panel.
The Margrave stands next to you. He's got that cinematically dramatic, like one hand on his hip, the other hand like lean the American lean on the panel, one hand on it, just going, and you can confirm this has nothing to do with us. It's a completely separate situation.
I'm unaware of a connection between you and these specific miners, my lord.
All right, so he takes, you know, a wired Vox caster and goes, all
Only
hands
picturing
through the
Donald
ship.
right now.
This is not a Skitarii attack. Let the party resume. And you hear a trumpet go, ba, 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 ba. So Holly, that's where we kick back to you. Is you heard that there was some sort of problem and commotion. People began moving tables, then they stopped moving their tables. They stopped moving them in motion, so there are still like several duos of guys carrying long feast tables filled with food that are just standing there holding them in midair, not moving. There are knights who are hanging off of their machines waiting to hear what's happening. And the next thing you get is an update from Ansgara, who says that, and then somebody blows the feasting trumpets and the tables begin moving back into place. Wow, hold on. I need to pop out the Zoom chat. You guys are catty today. Sheesh.
So you're trying to figure out how to throw the next line out there.
Wow. Okay, so we're just going to do Star Wars references in chat the whole time. I see how it is. All right. Okay. Holly, what's going on with you now that you hear the feasting has begun and the feasting trumpets have blown the feasting call?
I mean, is this not the time you would go and join the feast?
Fantastic. You rejoin the feast. Yeah. Is there anything specific you would like to accomplish at the feast? Otherwise, you're going to get an earful of gossip about everything that's going on back at home for House Van den Sark.
Yeah, I think that I'm here to network. So I will certainly, listen to the gossip, and I will innocently ask questions in order to dive deeper into some of the where the. I'm trying to work out, I guess, who the power factions are within the house, and are there conflicts? Is there anything we can exploit? Any sort of opportunities for development?
I am going to ask you for a rapport roll. Even if you fail, I'm going to give you information.
Okay, look.
But I'm going to gradiate what information you get based on how successful you are.
Yeah, I can't. It's not the first time I've dealt with this group, is it? So I can't do my
Yeah, you can't do your bullshit. I understand.
Yeah. Okay. So for I will, first, because I've got so much XP, I'm gonna increase my rapport first off. I use it so freaking much. So let me quickly spend some XP on this.
Got that one pad working, or
Sorry?
got the one note working? No.
No, still no. I've got so much XP that I can buy stuff that I wasn't thinking of, but I can't remember how to do XP in this one now.
The advancement button at the top of your character sheet.
Top, there we go. Thank you. Yep, that's it. Okay, so rapport, up by 1. There we go. And then I will spend a fate point to make this a advantage roll.
Okay.
There we go.
3 is very good. All right, you want to know about the power players and about what's going on here. So there are not a lot of sub-factions here. These people are, I don't know, I feel like hegemonic would be a good description of them. They all fall under the power of Margreave Ansgara Vandensarg. Like, they speak of him as if he is something akin to a god. His power in this house is absolute, and basically everything cultural, artistic, and military flows through him. I've already mentioned that their knights are like beast hunters, and in order to earn your place as a pilot, you can't just pilot a knight. If you want to be recognized as a knight of House Vandensarg, you have to go out and solo kill one of the megafauna on their planet. Now, traditionally, what they do is they wait for a large storm to come so that super fish and whales get beached around their castle, and then they go out and fight them, you know, in a somewhat advantageous position. But your first major kill is always turned into the cloak that your actual knight wears. Some other things to consider is that the Margreave himself is a pilot. He pilots the Knight Valiant Faultless Spear. And the only form of dissent in his house, the only one who's even slightly not aligned with him, is one of his banner houses has joined them. He arrived several days ago on a transport ship. He is from House Vavor. His name is Johanniter. He is from the southern continent, and he's supposed to be like the backup governor. You know, he's like second in command. He was supposed to stay home, but he has caught up with them. This is his arrival feast. It's taken 5 days to plan and prepare for it and fit it into the schedule of other feasts and events. So this is technically Johanniter's like, hey, welcome to catching up with us feast. You get the idea that people, they will not complain about Johanniter to you, an outsider, but you catch it. I mean, that's a great role. You catch it in between things. Like when people think you aren't listening, they definitely are very upset with House Favore, with this latecomer. They don't want him here. They feel like that he damages the unity of the organization. The other big thing of note, I mean, with the 3, I'm going to also give you Johanniter Vavore is a big supporter of the Adeptus Mechanicus Sacristans. So these are, I don't think the Sacristans are technically members of the Adeptus Mechanicus. They are members of a knight house who have been sent to the Mechanicus and basically indoctrinated propaganda-wise, and also given the technological skills to maintain the knights. So their knights are not in the tip-top-ish shape because their sacristans betrayed them 1,000 years ago, and so they haven't had any sacristans because they killed them all. And they have been at odds with the Adeptus Mechanicus for that 1,000 years. So their arrival answering the call of the Titanslair Legion has been something of a surprise. An invitation went out to them. There was no expectation that House Vandensarg would show up. And so their arrival here has been delayed. They can't get permission to land on the planet because no one thought they'd actually come. With that said, Johanniter Vavore, he believes in the Sacristan mission and thinks that it is vital for Malir's future and for House Vandensarg's future that they acquire new sacristans to maintain their knights. I think that's 3 worth of local events and gossips. And again, I want to emphasize that the mood around Sacristans, Johanniter, and House Favore are all kind of vaguely negative.
All right.
Cool. I'm going to let you guys decide what you want to do next, because I've split you in 3 different directions doing wild shit. We've all caught up to the same place chronologically, temporally.
I don't know. I got half of mine to leave Velamris down there, but I think he's going to end up getting more
Velamris, you're
corruption.
like boom, boom, ba-dum, boom, 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 ba-dum, boom, boom. You can feel the bass in your chest.
Yeah, I think it might be time for him to rejoin the party.
It's hitting your diaphragm so hard you feel it in your soul.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, that's been a while since I've done that. All right, you pull yourself away, and it's actually like weirdly sensual leaving the party, because like as you're leaving, people are like stroking you and trying to get you not to go. You know, like there's people at the edges of the party near the staircase up who are just like, no, don't go, as you pull away. And the woman who brought you down here is nowhere to be seen. You head back up into the feasting hall alone. You are covered in lipstick smears and stains from colored fruity drinks that are all over your clothes. You look like a Kesha concert.
Wow, I got no reference for that, but I can. Wow, I will say this: I was watching The Expanse, and I got to like the last couple of episodes today, and one of them involved Amos Burton and Bobby Draper in a bar, and Bobby Draper's like, "You've got lipstick scratches on your neck, and is that glitter?" And so now that's the only thing I'm thinking about right now.
No, that's
how
acceptable.
Velamris looks when he comes back out of this party.
I'll buy that.
Yeah, I think
Holly, you immediately clock Velamris slut walking back in here.
I think I don't know. I'm curious. Velamris probably doesn't realize he looks like he needs to go freshen up before
You absolutely
resuming.
do not.
Yeah, I think he just doesn't realize it. So Holly, this is your chance to be vindictive petty Holly, or maybe not.
Velamris just like grab a random drink and just shout like, keep the party going.
I think, because I think I want to check in with you guys and see what's going on. What have I missed up top? Because obviously I've been down below for a little while, and then I have no idea about the Skitarii or anything. You know, he's definitely got a bit of a bop in his step. I don't know. Do people use that word still?
Yeah. Most of them are Eric Vulgaris.
That checks out, actually. But yeah. So, James, does Holly point Velamris to the nearest restroom to clean himself up a little bit?
Sure. Yeah. Look, I think you might want to check yourself before you regather this feast.
Check myself before I wreck myself. I'm sorry. I says, "Oh, do I have something on my?" Oh, yeah, I probably should. Here, hold this, and he gives you one of those fruity drinks that you probably walked down the bar with, or out of the club.
I probably hold it like it's tainted and like
yeah.
Move it. Find a service to move it to as fast as possible.
Yeah, I'm just gonna duck into a restroom and just kind of try to clean myself up. I'm probably gonna be in there for.
You are shocked to get a look at yourself.
Yeah.
You spend most of your life in an office cubicle on an open floor plan processing paperwork. This level of hard partying, literal warp corruption is way outside your purview of life experience.
Yeah. I think I definitely have a moment of like staring at myself in the mirror, and it's kind of a not necessarily a soul searching depth, but certainly a hold on. Okay, let's take an assessment here and figure out what we're gonna do, because this is a bit much. Okay, let's just go back to the more tame feast and find the others and maybe not wander off. And I feel like maybe he is actually saying this out loud to himself in the mirror, you know. So technically, he's not talking to himself. It's talking to his mirror's reflection.
When you turn, you can see that there is a gentleman standing next to you with like a hand towel, like a warm, moist towelette. Excuse me, sir. I didn't hear what you said.
Oh,
warm towel?
Yes, please.
He doesn't hand you the towel. He puts it on your face and begins, you know.
I think after the first couple, he's just like, no, I've got this. Thank you.
Very well, sir. Would you like our refresher services?
Yes, please.
He gestures to an American-style bathroom stall where the doors have a space underneath them, and there's way too much space between the door and the hinge so that you can see into it, and you can see that it's not a bathroom stall, really. It's a massage table stall where someone is waiting for you and is like getting warm oil on their hands ready to go.
Oh, yeah. I think this will be just perfect to bring you back down from the bass thumping coffee I just went through.
I will prepare some warm milk and a bathrobe for you, sir, while we launder your clothes.
Please, thank you. And then I'm going to imagine I have some sort of comms device other than just a comm bead, so I could like text the others, like, I will be in repose.
Wow.
I think
if I received that message, I'd be like, is Omar dead? I'll be in repose?
Rassie receives this message and says, it just looks at it.
Is that the word I actually want to use? Hold
yeah,
on,
I mean, you're not technically using it wrong.
Rassie just doesn't know what that word means.
No, that okay, so it did fit what I thought it fit.
Rassie just doesn't know what that word means. Just looks at it and thinks, So hopefully that makes sense to Holly.
I think he's using the high. I almost said high Valyrian, not high
Gothic.
High Gothic. Thank you.
Ah, yes,
I think he uses the high.
So no one understands you, not even yourself.
Yeah, that's even better, actually. The High Gothic for repose. I'll be in reposium.
Now Rassie thinks, oh, Sister Holly will be disappointed my vocabulary hasn't been keeping up.
It's like the one of like 6 words that he can remember at will. Yeah, so he'll be snoozing through this back rub that he's about to get, I guess, while his clothes are laundered. Sipping on.
Because it's the Imperium, there's no happy ending.
Listen, I wasn't going for that. You gotta go find the Eldar for that.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, or if you do get a point of corruption.
Yeah.
Okay, Rassie, we're back with you.
So after Rassie gives his struggle of an analysis on their radar scopes, and I call for the party to resume. What does the Margrave?
The Margrave doesn't seem to be intent on going anywhere. He is watching them the same way my cat sits on the back porch watching birds. Like, he's studying an opponent he may need to fight in the immediate future.
Is there chittering at any time?
From the radar screen? No.
From the Margrave?
Yes, the Margrave turns into 1,000 millipedes and begins chittering.
Well, cats sometimes chitter at the birds that they see through the windows. That's why.
He's not chittering. He is intently watching with a hunting instinct.
What about his friend, Etoile?
He did not come down and was also not invited to come down. You specifically were invited to come down because he thought you would have a level head compared to his own people.
Okay. I haven't specifically been dismissed from the bridge.
That is correct.
Okay.
Just gonna hang, bro.
I think
Man,
he's
there's
gonna.
nothing the U.S. Navy loves more than people who just hang out on the bridge.
I think what he'll do is the tech that he sort of that he took over from. He'll spend the next couple of minutes explaining like how he did what he did to that tech.
Okay. It's too bad teaching isn't a skill in this game.
Rassie's probably, well,
I'll take a
don't know.
leadership role, actually.
Okay.
I think if you roll well enough on this, you may teach the entire bridge crew something.
Oh.
How to radar.
Ooh. Okay. This could make a good impression with the Margrave, too. +4.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, yeah, I mean, you quickly explain how things work to them. They've been doing it by rote. You know, I feel like you introduce them to the idea of shortcuts, essentially. Like, they're going C ... / folder / and you're like, you can double click on this and run the executable, and they're like, what? I didn't know that was a touchscreen. It's just never been done for them, and you get them up to speed very quickly with the full use of this thing, and you explain some of the functions with the, I want to say, auger system with the sensors that they've never used before, and they all get up to speed very well. You're pretty good at teaching, and they have a very militant vibe to them. Like, these are people who, when you're telling them that this is important, they're paying perfect attention.
Okay. Think he'll do what he wanted to do in the first place before he did that. And I think he wants to move to stand next to and a little bit behind the Margrave. He doesn't want to step up and accidentally cause some sort of offense, but he wants to sort of be there to sort of announce, like, I'm here.
Yeah,
I don't want to interrupt you, but
when you move there, the Margrave doesn't turn to move his head. He lets you remain there for a few seconds before saying, normally, that is a position reserved for someone of the highest level of trust and honor in our house. To be in the perfect position from which to hunt. For you to be located directly behind me in a position to pounce. Normally, only my bodyguards would be permitted. Not that I need them.
if I've given some offense, that was not my intention.
He turns his head to see you finally and gives you a hard look and says, no offense. I, like Etoile, hope that one day you too will be a member of our house. You seem to be possessed of a broad suite of skills we may need to acquire. You're a very special person.
I wanted to compliment you on your crew. They're very eager and well disciplined.
You can see that they are straightening a little bit when you say that. You know, it's one of those, this is the finest squad I've ever seen in my whole life sort of deals. And yeah, I think it's not that he doesn't believe you, it's just that he understands that you're playing them up, whereas he's like, well, you know, obviously we have a lot more training to do. He's not saying anything out loud, he's just giving you a very frank look.
I feel like given like his position and what he does, it's also probably pretty obvious that when Rassie says that, it's his way of trying to find a nice way of saying, like, they totally didn't have a clue, but it wasn't because they were bad. They just didn't know. He was trying to like trying to show like a positive spin to, like, you know, I taught them a thing and they have good qualities, you know. I think the briefing that I had on matters between House Vendersarg and the Adeptus Mechanicus were maybe underselling the tension.
We have avoided contact with the Adeptus Mechanicus for a long time. I have reformed our ways to a house more suited to unity. We have come to collect what we are owed. The service of sacristans. We have served, we have continued to be deployed around the galaxy where we have been asked to be. Our machines are old and tired. My warriors need as much maintenance as rest as the machines do. Perhaps we can trust these Adeptus Mechanicus just enough to get what we need. We will try peace first.
I think I understand.
Perhaps.
As much as I can.
I think he turns away from you and continues to like watch the unfolding violence of miners being dragged out of the mine. And that's where we're going to take our break. Is just like, I think that probably the scene right here is Ogren servitors who are like double pickaxe wielders are being offloaded from one of the landers and taking the place of the people that they just killed. It's clear that some sort of like labor swap is in place. I think maybe something that the Margrave sees that you don't is Geefanovius there with like a clipboard just watching all this happen, just checking stuff off and giving a handshake to a mechadendrite of a Skitarii acolyte nearby. Anyway,
Anonius is not supposed to be down there.
Geefanovius is your point of contact for physical salvation services.
Yeah, we've
Am I
given.
misremembering that I thought he basically joined our crew.
He did. You
Oh.
left him back on the moon because that's where he works now.
Yeah, we made him our trade representative.
Yes,
there
he's the
on
insurance
moon.
agent.
Okay.
We've given him a lot of power.
Wild. We'll
Well,
be
once
back in
Velamris-
about 5 minutes for that middle part. Will
Once
James
Velamris-
recover his
Shit.
computer access? Welcome back to the next part. What do you guys want to do?
I think it's on Holly at the moment. If there was something that Holly wanted to do, because it's Rassie and I have both done two things, as it were.
Yeah, I don't have a specific thing I'm trying to accomplish here. So, unless there's something you think I should be trying to do here,
No.
but I mean, I'm just here gathering intel right now. So, I don't need to start shit here just yet.
You don't need to start stirring the pot yet.
No.
All right. I think at this point, Velamris, after a little while with his back rub and waiting for his clothes. Well, I don't know how long is he available to come back yet? With his clothes being freshly relaundered.
Yes, it's going to take 30 minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a lot faster than I thought it would be. But
Yes, your clothes come back extra starched.
excellent. I don't even remember what I was wearing. I know I was dressed up really well for the feast, but I don't remember what I had.
You bought
But
a
yeah.
whole new set of very fancy clothes because you wanted to make a good impression.
I did. I remember that. Yeah.
I think you
Yeah,
spent, didn't you spend like an absolutely ludicrous amount of money on this outfit
I
too?
probably did, actually.
I think you spent an absolutely stupid amount of money.
I did, because at one point I was in the tens of thousands, like I had like 10 or 15,000, and I'm down to just under 7. So I definitely spent money on my outfit.
I think we both spent like over 10,000 on the
Yeah.
outfits.
Yeah. But yeah, so I will rejoin the main feast group. I believe Rassie is down on the bridge somewhere, so I will see Holly and probably wander off towards her general vicinity without making it look like I'm trying to be next to her all the time. considering I don't really know too many other people here.
Okay. Are we saying the whole party gets back together?
Yeah.
Are we bringing the
Excellent.
band back?
Yeah, I'll go back to the party. I don't want to malinger on the bridge. I made myself helpful, asked a question, and I don't want to get in the way.
So I think we've made an impression, which is what I wanted to do. I think that from this impression, future trade can take place. None of you have screening, have you?
I don't know if I've made much of an impression, but I did find that there is a virtual never-ending...
No. People noticed when you came back.
I found a never-ending party that may or may not be useful for anything. It was a great time while I was there. I'm back. Did you guys accomplish anything? I don't know if Velamris would have been quite that animated, but
I mean,
I
you had a
learned
great time. You're probably pretty high energy.
well, he also went and had a back rub, so he's probably back down to, chillax mode.
Comfortably numb.
Something like that, yeah. As opposed to uncomfortably numb, which is what I experience with my arm all the time, and what Velamris' normal daily life is probably like.
I think Rassie looks a little... I don't know how to describe it other than like overwhelmed or maybe a bit shell-shocked from the whole affair.
I think as you make it clear that you guys are preparing to leave, someone approaches you all with like a leather satchel bag and says,
Is it our gift bag?
"Excuse me, my lords, my lady. We have prepared a helicoculture bag for you to go home with. We understand that you may not be dining in the usual manner you are accustomed to as representatives of a rogue trader in these parts, and we wish to make sure that your cuisine fare is improved in your next meal."
Very thoughtful of you. Thank you.
Proffers over the leather bag to you.
I'm guessing it would be poor form to start going through the bag in front of the guy.
Even though this is exactly what Velamris wants to do. He's like, "Ooh, what's in the bag?"
As I said, it's helicoculture. It's a local delicacy.
Intriguing.
Please pass on our thanks to your esteemed lords for their gracious hosting of us this evening.
He doffs his cap towards you and enters into a low half bow, half curtsy before withdrawing.
I do think, well, during that like cool down and we're gathering together and going to lead, I would have wanted to stop by, find Etoile again.
Mm-hmm.
Let him know that we have business that we must attend to, but I really appreciate his hospitality during the event, and it was a pleasure to meet him.
Okay. He hands you over his communication details in case you need to vox him.
I'll give him mine.
Okay. He does the Predator Manshake with you, if you'll allow it.
Yeah, for sure.
You are a good companion. I hope to see you again soon. Even if not, know that you are welcome in the House of Vandensog.
I hope to have occasion to come back and see you again soon. Thank you so much.
So I kind of clarify, when you said a predator handshake, do you mean like pauldron to pauldron, or do you mean like the
bicep?
The actual okay, no worries, the arm wrestle in the air.
Yeah.
Not wrestle in the air.
So Predator Handshake is like this, and the Predator Man Shake is when it's like this. The Man Shake is when you grab forearms. Handshake is when you grab hands. They got you pushing too many pencils, huh, Dylan? It's something like I would see Predator in like 20 years.
The CIA got you pushing too many pencils.
So That's why we had the line here. Minister, you're pushing too many autoquills.
Maybe I should just go rewatch Predator.
It's not
I'll
a bad
skip
idea,
Predator
actually.
2, though. Boy, what a movie.
Predator 2 wasn't that bad, I don't
Yeah,
think.
it was really bad.
I mean, it was the 80s, so of course it was...
Predator 2's the one where it's like,
It's in
the
LA.
hot LA downtown ghettos, one predator hunts black people. And I was like, is this a real movie? Like, is this real?
I mean, I don't want to get too into it. He does start by hunting the Hispanics, and then he starts hunting the black guy.
Well, it's been like 20 years since I've seen it. But yeah, I remember being like, wow, I can't believe this got made into a movie.
Goes after King Willie, the voodoo type gang.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so maybe it hasn't aged well.
It has not.
I don't forget aging well. It didn't age the minute it came out.
No, I mean, it was not a great movie.
Look,
in the
Alien
grand
vs.
scheme of things.
Predator elevated both series to an entirely different level that they both needed to make good movies from then on out.
Yeah,
Have you
except
seen the
they
new Predator
screwed
trailer?
some of that up too. So, huh?
Have you seen the new Predator trailer?
No.
Prey?
No,
Oh no!
it
Oh,
looks good.
there is a new one, isn't there?
Yeah.
I'm worried.
Another new one.
I haven't seen it.
I only got a few minutes into Prey. It just didn't grab
What's
me
funny
that
is that
well.
like there's a scene from the trailer which shows like the Predator's trophy room with all the skulls, and of course there's an alien skull there, but there's also the skull of the Independence Day aliens.
Ooh, I do
Oh,
like
wow.
Independence Day.
Nice.
Huge fan.
Okay, that's fun.
That's amazing.
I really enjoyed Prey.
I haven't seen it. That's the one that's the Native Americans one, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I don't know. It was super slow. There wasn't a lot
Was it?
going on. Yeah.
It was a slow build up.
Yeah. I mean, look, I got through Andor season 1, the first 3 episodes. I feel like I've done all the slow rolling I need for the rest of my life.
You know, now that you mentioned it, I do remember watching Andor, the first season. I haven't started the second one.
I
but
watched
do
The Wire
remember...
season 1 to prepare myself for the good seasons of The Wire. So,
Wow, I never watched The Wire. Was it that bad though?
yeah, you need to get through the first season in order for the other ones to make sense. But yeah, it's super slow. So the problem
It's a
is
slog.
the problem with The Wire is that for the first 6 or 7 episodes, the police are referring to people by their legal names, and the gangsters are referring to each other by their slang names. So you don't
street
have
names.
a fucking clue who anyone is talking about. The police will just be like, all right, Willie Charleston's coming down the street. We're keeping an eye on him. He's going to deliver the bag to, Julius. And they'll be like, yo, it's your boy, Big G, going down to the spot. And I'll just be like, I don't understand what the fuck is at some point, the two storylines start to make sense. But I remember The Wire being like, this is horrible right up until Fuzzy Dunlop. And then it got good.
I don't even know what
remember
Fuzzy
what-
Dunlop means. I just know just from the sound of it, like, okay, that's got to be something.
Oh my god. So there's a whole subplot where they're like, so what we need is a serial killer who only kills other serial killers.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I at one point tried to think of a TV show to watch while painting miniatures, and I tried to start watching Narcos and didn't realize half the show's in Spanish.
In Spanish,
I
yeah.
had to keep looking away from the model to the screen to read the subtitle.
Why didn't you just learn Spanish, James? You're painting miniatures. You have plenty of free time on your hands. Learn an entire language just so you can watch Narcos authentically.
While painting miniatures. We've really gotten off track here.
Yeah, we're way off track. So anyway, when you get back on the shuttle, you open your bag and inside are edible land snails.
I don't know what this would look like, but I want to imagine they're in some sort of
They're
like...
Tupperware.
Okay, Tupperware, even better. So yeah, Velamris was going to open one. He's like, I don't know what these are. And he's going to open it up and he's going to be like, huh. And I'm going to pull one out. I'm going to offer it to Rassie because I know he'll eat anything. But I want to be clear that when I do this,
It looks
I
like
am fully intending on...
thumb-sized, sort of membrane-y meat that seems to be heavily salted on the outside.
He looks
So
at it and
kinda
goes,
like bacon.
oh, that looks like actual meat. And he'll take it and he'll eat it.
Yeah. And so as soon as he takes it, I'm just going to grab
Chewy,
one and eat it.
actually. I mean, it's not bad.
It's probably one of those foods you're supposed to like chew and then spit out, but you swallow it.
Yeah, he's definitely going to swallow it.
Yeah. No comments there either, gentlemen. No comments there either. God, I really have a.
You guys are really taking this episode to a new level, is all I'm saying.
This is what happens when we haven't played in 7 weeks.
He's gonna work with it for a couple of minutes and then look over at Velamris and say, "This is pretty good. This is pretty good."
Yeah, I think Velamris is gonna look back, still chewing on his as well. He's gonna be like, "Yeah, this isn't half bad. I might have
Your
another
guys'
one."
version of chewing gum is eating land snails.
I'll check the notes as well that were delivered to the shuttle, but I'm guessing they're just thank you cards. They don't really have any relevance.
So, yeah, they do actually have some relevance. You had wanted to know the individual things each of them liked during your conversation with them. So if you're ready for some notes, the one you get back from director...
Oh, wait, let me see if I can open Notepad without it crashing.
If you can't open Notepad, open Notepad Plus.
Remember,
open yourself
you
an
can just double-click.
RTF document.
Remember, you could just double click on the icon on your desktop. You don't have to type C://
Notepad.exe.
I think I'm good.
So,
actually, I have a question.
Yes.
So since I spent that extra time with the bridge and I talked to the Margrave, like, can I put him down for a contact?
Yeah.
Did I get what's her name's contact information?
You don't even know her name, my man.
You never asked her name.
I didn't. And then she disappeared before I had the chance to be like, "Oh, by the way, what's your name?"
So anyway, director Chelsea Maria Alexandria Elizabeth, she has sent you a very excited mail message that more or less appears to be an attempt to sway you into gathering information on her competitors and helping her promises that the two of you together can dominate the competition, and rather than split things 4 ways, you can just split it between the two of you. And it seems like what she wants is to control unique resources, is what you're getting from her stuff, like archaeotech or like gray trade stuff, Xeno artifacts, hidden and unique like warp roots, things like that. That's what she's looking for out of business relationships. And it's very difficult to get that kind of stuff here. And I think you already know that she specifically dropped hints that the West Macarian Trading Company would like to get involved in the cold trade. Did I get it right for the first time ever? Your note from Waswald Shorthaldingston, Shorthaltworthingston, sorry, is mostly like a very polite, like, it was great to meet you. I hope that we can see each other again. And in between all of those like generic words, you get a sense that this is someone who wants monuments built in his honor. When you are looking at this man and you're looking for what deeply down he wants, this is a guy who wants statues of himself built around the world. It doesn't matter whether it's a shitty backhole like Alpha here or whether it's, you know, Macarius. This guy just wants to be seen as an enduring legacy.
So, like I say, is it more about vanity or about leaving a lasting mark?
I think it's about vanity, for sure. And then you get a very nice, very personalized card from Lionel Chutney Bree, who seems to have genuinely enjoyed your conversation with him. He seems to be... His indications to you are that he just likes doing fun stuff. He likes having a fun vibe. I would say indulging in pleasure, but I realize if I say it like that, you might get Slaneshi vibes, and I don't want you to think like I don't want you to think he's Velamrising right now. He just likes living life, which in the Imperium is quite hard to do.
No, it's one thing when I have the thought. It's another to hear somebody else use the exact same thought.
So yeah, Lionel Chutney Bree is just like, it was a genuine pleasure to meet with you. Old chap, old boy, old girl. Absolutely smashing time with you. Would love to have you by any more in the future. You make an excellent companion to our little circle. Would you like to get a drink? I love drinking and sailing.
My notes have been noted. Thank you.
Very well. Your pilot is ready to take you wherever you'd like to go in the solar system. You also have received the first copy of the ad service for Papa Oinker's Perpetual Stew. You can search them on the local internet with POP $sign if you want more about their stock exchange ticker number. And you've
Are we
also
paying for SAP?
Sorry?
Are we paying for SEP? Sorry, SEO, sorry.
Yes, you pay for SEO. Although in this case, SEO is sticking informants inside of the local intelligence guilds to spread information about yourselves. You know what I mean? Like, you have somebody go to the intelligence guild and be like, I have information to sell about the rogue trader. I'm definitely not part of his crew looking to build local hype. You've also received a notice that there is a greenskin invasion currently taking place on the Darkwind, and that it is being dealt with. The quarantine is enduring and permitting, and there is a thank you noted specifically to Velamris Quineel for letting them know ahead of time that that was about to happen. They were able to marshal forces in the way and respond to the greenskin invasion. There are some questions for you, Velamris, as to how you knew that there would be an incident.
I believe I know out of character, obviously. I believe it's because we knew nobody was monitoring the orc spores or some craziness, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just respond back that it was you worked it out statistically. You know, it was
actually, that sounds like a really good answer.
The Madoka Magica answer. Yes, of course.
Madoka Magica. I don't even know what that means, but I'm going to go with it.
It's a magical girl series where one of the characters is stuck in a time loop, and she's stuck in the time loop for like 80 years. And so she knows what's going to... Events don't always play out exactly the same way, but they've played out in very similar ways often enough that she's like, yes, statistically, this is the most probable pathway of events if I need to avoid things happening.
Okay. Yeah. We'll definitely throw
that
the probability
is a spoiler
thing
for basically the entire series, by the way. Somehow I don't think the overlap between Warhammer 40K and Madoka, people who want to watch Madoka Magica but haven't, is going to be very big.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a slim window there. At any rate, when they do say something about questionings, I think Velamris will have enough foresight to be like, well, statistically, this was bound to happen based on, and then insert a number of possible answers. Two of them will be somewhat correct, and there'll be a couple that'll be completely red herring from an administrative standpoint.
Okay. Gideon and Fiota began transmitting your reply back to the fleet.
Is that our pilots' names?
Yeah, Gideon, it's your pilot and co-pilot.
Okay.
You mean you didn't write their names down?
I still haven't written their names down, even now.
You don't know about Gideon Stormcrow, a.k.a. callsign Porcine, and Fiota, a.k.a. callsign Cyclops?
I do remember Stormcrow, but also because it's a battle mech. Well, an Omni mech. It's a very good one, in fact. At any rate, yeah, we'll get that message sent, and then I don't know, where should we go next? Friends? I think we need to check in with Giffinovius. Oh God, what's his name?
Giffinovius.
I'm going to start calling him Giffinovius just so we can have that stupid conversation all the time about how to properly pronounce his name.
I'm not sure I'm not sure what to do with it yet.
You're super quiet. I can't hear what you're saying.
Yeah, you did come in kind of faint there.
I'm not sure what to do with this, but the Mechanicus landed at the mines on Alpha and started force servitorizing the miners there.
The very same miners that we just invoked a change in contracts.
Yes.
One that we very specifically wrote the contract to be beneficial for all parties not just one faction or the other. And now those workers are, I'm sorry, you said being servitorized
Yes.
by whom?
By the
Mechanics,
Mechanicus.
presumably.
I'm not sure.
But that contract should have helped them as well.
Well, additionally, it seemed that House Vandensar is concerned of a potential retaliation or some sort of aggressive action by the Mechanicus for their presence here. So that tension is more than I think impressions led me to believe at the onset.
So the question is whether the House is going to play it safe and try and pass under the notice, or whether they're going to try and chest beat in order to stand up to the Mechanicum.
I'm not
But
sure.
that would not be wise on their part, would it not? They need the admech support more than anything in order to keep their machines running?
I mean, I know that they're here to get support from the Mechanicus, and if what the Margrave told me can be believed, he wishes to do so without any form of conflict. He wants to find a way to do it without conflict. But I'm not really sure. I don't really entirely understand this whole situation.
I mean, we can try to broker an arrangement. We could go before the Mechanicum and try and find out what they want out of the House, and then go back to say that we have an in. We're not a part of the House. We have an in with the House. We could potentially negotiate on their behalf without weakening their position.
What would be the benefit to Chaderius Darkwind, though, for us to do that?
Well, I mean, if he wants to be seen as a deal maker, and of course, we want to try and make sure we get some benefit out of it directly ourselves.
Of
But it
course.
benefits everybody to not have the two largest factions on the planet infighting.
And we make ourselves look like the bold negotiator, mediator type, both ourselves and the rogue trader himself. Perhaps we could use that to gain even better prices.
We know that the rogue trader is of a militant demeanor.
Yes.
So perhaps if we were to be able to negotiate on the behalf of a large militant force, like a Night House, maybe we could secure some assistance from the Night House for the rogue trader.
I mean, we could also send a message to the Darkwind simply saying that these two factions might be coming to a head. Would he want us to support one or the other, or try to get them both to reconcile?
I do want to remind you, communications to the ship are being quarantined because they're worried about sending out a digital virus as part of the Nurgle infestation on the ship.
There is somebody who is acting in his capacity right now that
That
we
is
also work
true.
for.
It is the Space Marine.
Yeah.
Could we ask the Darkwind to flash its headlamps in binaric?
Yes, sure. If you would like to communicate via flashlight.
By torch, AP.
Oh, yeah, because it's British. I forgot. You're right. By a torch. Although this is Warhammer 40K, they could just put a torch beside a incredibly complicated mirror array.
Call it a lighthouse?
Yeah.
Incredibly literally, yeah.
Actual torch. Yes.
It seems like it seems like protocol would be to talk to Lord Mercutio.
Is he not incredibly busy fulfilling his duties as the acting rogue trader? I think perhaps leaving a note informing him of our intent to broker this deal would be the better course of action.
I mean, if we left a message stating that at his convenience we are seeking guidance on if the rogue trader wishes to be perceived to be allied with one or the other or neither, then when he gets to it, that seems important enough to require a response from him at some point.
I think our stance should be that we are on behalf of both major parties and not favoring one or the other.
We need to know we need to know what the intent of the rogue trader would be at something that is this high level.
May I suggest we start our processes supporting both sides, that we are the beneficent, neutral mediator type, and when we receive an answer that we should favor one or the other, then we can jump that bridge. I don't think we jump bridges much, but
Starting to work positively towards somebody that the rogue trader wishes to not have a positive relationship could be pretty bad for us too.
I think that it's a conversation we should definitely have with Mercutio in person. I don't like the idea of electronic communications discussing who the rogue trader does or does not support in a conflict.
Would you like to send a message? If you looking at Holly, would you would it then be appropriate for you to send a message to the comms officer requesting a strategic meeting with Lord Mercutio?
I think
isn't
so.
Lord Mercutio available isn't he on the planet?
No,
Or is he
he's
on
on
the moon?
He's not in
the
Darkwind.
No, he's not on the Darkwind.
Mercutio is on the Light of Dawn.
Yeah.
But is that quarantine though as well?
It is.
No, that was our ship.
Yes, but it is part of the quarantine fleet because it's the one sending the purification team over.
Okay.
So we can't go back to that ship.
You can go back as long as you don't want to leave for a little while.
Yeah, well, no, we want to maintain
Now,
mobility.
communication to that ship has not been cut off in any way.
It's just been strictly codified for various priority levels because of jackass comms officer.
You can go land on it if you want to. No one's stopping you.
Yeah, they're just going to stop us from leaving. You just said
Yes,
that.
correct.
We can send a tight beam, though.
Yeah, we've also been yelled at for you sending messages instead of Holly.
All right. So I will send a request to.
I'm going to eat one of those snail things while staring at you.
asking
Saying
for a secure meeting, but obviously not in person. But when he has time, I need to have a secure link up.
Okay. I think that you receive a message several hours later from the moon indicating that their local psyker will be made available for you, a direct site-to-site psychic meeting between the ship psyker and you, which they believe will probably be secure and not intercepted or breaking quarantine.
All right. So what I want to do, AP,
Yes.
is put together as brief a communication as possible. Like I'm going to say it at the time, but I want to write it out in advance.
Yep.
Where to say in as few words as possible that there's a brewing conflict between this Night House and the Adeptus Mechanicus. We have contacts in both. We can either try and resolve the situation peaceably or support one or the other. But I want to try and code the message by using stuff which is contextual to the meetings we've already had, like the stuff that we've already done with Mercutio that's not known to everybody else.
Sure.
So without naming names or that sort of stuff, I'm trying to encrypt the message as much as possible with shared knowledge.
Isn't there a cipher role of some kind?
Oh, that'd be cool.
Trying to think.
I thought there was a literal cipher.
There's a linguistics that may or may not apply.
Yeah, linguistics has a subtype cipher. Yep.
Oh, okay.
There is
All right,
an
so
art
just
and
do the-
skill to writing telegrams back in the day, sending as few words as possible. So, yeah, I can see this being a role.
Okay. This is something that will help with this. Probably not. No. Okay. So let's do the roll then. I will spend the fate point up front.
As one does.
Wow.
Hey.
All right, you rolled a 6. You needed 45. So, yeah, huge. You are absolutely fantastic at this. You get a very short, compressed message that will not... It would be difficult for somebody else to understand exactly what's going on, but easy for the recipient to understand that you have encoded a message in all of this. James has invented Thieves' Cant.
I mean, probably if it's actually using a proper cipher, it probably is a triangular cipher where it's like what I want to say, an encryption, and then a third-party document both have access to, like a book or something which we've agreed to beforehand to use. Yeah.
King
You got to make sure you have the
James.
correct edition and everything on that.
Yes.
Yep. The sixth line of the Rogue Traders charter.
Ah, yes.
His warrant of trade. We're going to use that document. That
Yes.
Actually, I can see
The
the Rogue
sixth
Trader
line,
doing that.
as we all know, reads "fuck bitches, get money."
The hymns of dollar bill, y'all.
Yes. The Emperor commands it. It's a holy act, so you know. I'm
We
imagining.
did that's what I'm using.
I want to see a Warhammer 40K, one of the Warhammer Plus shorts, inspired by Wu-Tang Clan. That's all I'm saying. I don't know if people remember Wu-Tang Financials on SNL, but that is the greatest short they've ever made. They will never make a better short than that one.
I might have to look this one up.
You don't know about Wu-Tang Financials?
I do not.
You got to diversify your bonds, Velamris. Okay. You send the message. I think you'll get a reply that is similarly encoded back, indicating that if you can find a way to profit from the situation, your actions are authorized. Profit in this case, not limited to material gain, but influence, prestige, and just being in the know of what's happening, being seen as being important. But getting a couple percentage points from both sides for being the mediator would not be a bad plan. Overall, your plan is authorized, and you can go ahead with it.
So the preference was to have them both reconciled.
I think that there's no instructions, right? Like,
okay.
Whatever you think is best, they're giving you the freedom in the field.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, then in my mind, and I'm saying this to these two, I think that reducing the amount of chaos and bringing in an ordered setup is going to be in everyone's best interest. So if Darkwind's not supporting a particular side, then we need to try and get both sides reconciled.
I agree.
In which case,
it would be best for us all. I think it would be best for us to get them both to settle down.
I mean, increasing the positive relationship for the Rogue Trader with both factions, I think will give him opportunities in the long term.
I think
in which case,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to, well, the next
hey, you warned us about
to
this.
try and begin setting up another meeting with the Mechanicus.
You cut out a little bit there, James. So you're going to have to re-say that.
Sorry, I was saying that I think the next thing for me then will be to try and set up a meeting with the Mechanicus once more.
Okay. I think
in my notes, sorry, who was HTAC 617?
He's the planetary guy, if I'm not mistaken. He's the AdMech ruler of the planet, basically.
That's the Archmagos of the entire world, the inhuman reclamator of the Cardinal Altar.
Yeah.
I like how you remember that Mechanicus name offhand, but you don't know who flies you places.
Well, one of them seems to be significantly more important to me right now.
Oh, damn.
What is your approach? How do you think this should play out? What's our strategy? Because I think inviting representatives to a neutral location might be a way to go, but I defer to your judgment. You're definitely the better people person, sister.
I'm not looking to.
Let's trust.
I'm not looking to set a meeting up just yet. This is purely I want to flag with the Mechanicus our desire to help resolve this and show that we demonstrate that we have some connection with the household without being aligned with them. So once again, all I want to find out is what the Mechanics actually want out of this at the moment. Because it looked like they had what they wanted, but they've taken more.
Yes, they swapped a bunch of miners out.
I don't know if this helps, but I know that the Margrave had mentioned that he had made reforms in preparation for a peaceful exchange with the Mechanicus. I don't know what the nature of them are, but it seemed to denote some sort of change in order to facilitate a peaceful transaction.
I mean, we could research those changes.
I wonder if those changes were self-imposed or changes that the Adeptus Mechanicus needed to see happen in order to resume trade.
I don't know, but it at least shows intent of some kind.
All right.
Do you want to look into that, Velamris? And see if you can find out what those changes were?
I think we can. Didn't you meet somebody at the feast, Rassie, that might help point us in the right direction to finding that information?
I met some people at the party. I'm just not really sure how to. Things might be complicated. I don't know.
Very well.
I suppose the short answer is I met somebody who is currently evaluating my genetic sequence for a tentative offer. Marion?
Interesting. I can potentially look for any sort of information that the local administratum and the Mechanicus might have on file for their interactions with House. Was it Van der Sarg is the one? I'm getting my house names
Van der
flip-flopped.
Sarg is
It
the
Van
one
der-
that
Van der
the
Sarg.
Malir and Skara belongs to, yes. It's the ship that you were just on.
Okay.
But who was pushing through the reforms in order to normalize relations with the Mechanicum?
That was the Margrave of Van der Sarg, wasn't it?
It was his second in command, Johanader Favore.
Yeah, I think I will take a look and see what the local records might have regarding interactions between the House and the Adeptus Mechanicus leading up anything they have in recent history, I suppose.
Oh, make a data delving test. I know you've got talents and skills towards this.
Yep. So lore with advantage for free. Let me double check what else I got with that. Yep, I automatically get advantage. Let me see. Test made to find and retrieve information. Yeah, basically, I get all kinds of advantage. Let's see what we get. 2 successes.
Okay, so I think this requires you heading back down to the actual planet in the process and going through their libraries. You encounter something there that you have never seen, Velamris, although plenty of people talk about it. There is it's not secret, it's just that they aren't normally deployed. They are called the Literati, and they are the security arm of the Administratum. They are essentially the Administratum's version of, what's the cops called? Arbites? It's
Arbites.
Literati are arbites for the Administratum. So when a office is considered defective enough that they need watching, but not defective enough that they need to all be killed and eliminated, they send Literati with guns to just walk by everybody's desks every few minutes, make sure nobody's staying by the drinking water machine too much, escorting people to bathrooms, checking their work. So when you go into the Mechanicus library, you are pretty surprised to find that there is a small contingent of Literati guarding the exact shelves that you're working at, who triple check your authorization from HTAC and make sure that you are who you say you are. But when everything checks out, they do relax and allow you to get the files that you're looking for. So you have a +2 there. Mm-hmm. Are you comfortable with a +2? I just want to make sure you don't want to spend a fate point to go deeper.
Well, I have 1 left, so I may need it.
There's a whole hour left.
Yes.
But you will get an additional thing if you give that point to me now.
Yeah.
This seems like it could be pretty important.
Yeah. I think I will use that final fate point to bump up the success level. I want to look for information pertaining to, as I understand it, there was a cessation of service between the and that was about 1,000 years ago. And then recently they've come back after making some changes in order to resume the services they had received. So what I'm looking for is anything relating to that, and then looking for was there an improvement plan put into place or recommended by the Mechanicus, and is House Van der Velt attempting to follow that? Is that part of the how this is what you have to do in order to get the services back? And then just any other useful information that we can use to apply leverage to either side in this upcoming negotiation.
So, from the Mechanicus point of view, they have the exact date in the 38th millennia when the incident took place. Now, from their point of view, they can only get what House Van den Sarg told them, which is that the sacristans betrayed them and were doing something, and they all had to be killed. And there's plenty of commentary in Binaric in here about how, whether or not that's true, killing all of them, should have been the prerogative of the Mechanicus. And so these guys are not only blacklisted, but they have a growing debt of the amount of time they owe the Mechanicus for defense, right? These night houses should be serving the Mechanicus directly from their point of view. And so that time has been interest compounding upon itself to where they now owe thousands and thousands of years of service to the Mechanicus. And they're keeping extremely detailed records on that. So there are also some notes that the Mechanicus is worried about the deviations Van den Sarg was performing. There are some questions about the sacristan's behavior. So in the century before the slaughter, what happened is the sacristans noticed that the super mega beasts of the local planet had very mineral dense bones, and they began replacing the material they weren't getting from the Adeptus Mechanicus with those bones. And so all of their knights became like half hunted beast, half regular material. And of course, that sort of non-pattern compliant. It led to all sorts of issues. The sacristans began to split doctrine-wise, right? Like they began making innovative changes and adapting to the situation rather than performing by rote, which the file notes they should not have been able to do, because they should have been, I'm going to tell you they should have been brainwashed into compliance, but it probably says something a lot more positive than that. Like,
well, yeah,
they were trained not to do that. Their derivations are a deviation on doctrine.
Yeah. Abhorrent behavior.
However, the file does note that despite these deviations from doctrine, they still did not expect that, and they deny that these sacristans have changed so much that they would have required a culling, especially without any Mechanicus observers. So they still send out the sort of every 5 to 10 years requirement for service for this unit of Knight Order to come serve them, and they recently sent out the order for this war game that they're about to perform, not expecting them to show up. Now, that's not to say that House Van den Sarg hasn't still been carrying out its duties to the Imperium, because rather than serve the Adeptus Mechanicus, it has chosen to sell its services directly to Imperial generals. So it's still been going around fighting wars. It just hasn't been doing it the way the Mechanicus feels that they should be doing.
Okay.
Part of what's holding them up before landing is that there is a question at the Magos's level I think you're looking at meeting notes from like the last few days that have just recently been added that are like, should we force them to pay before they land? And then there's like some really like basic, like, you fucking idiot. They can't pay thousands of years of service in 6 seconds. Like, this debt is so incomparably vast. This planet has never tried to collect on something this big. We need to analyze this from a new perspective. And then there's a bunch of shock, like, a new perspective? Heretic! Report for, what did we call it before? Mandatory corrective brain surgery?
Yeah.
The Magos has been dragged away for mandatory corrective brain surgery.
Corrective brain realignment.
Oh, yeah, there you go. All right, so to summarize, Vanessarg owes an awful lot of time to the Mechanicus.
From the Mechanicus point of view, yes.
Yes. And the sacristans varied or went off the rails as far as what they were supposed to be doing. They started using local materials instead of standard materials. They ended up being slaughtered as a culling. The Mechanicus says, are you sure that was really the right answer? None of us were there to observe, verify, so that's a concern.
At that point, the communication between the two forces has broken down.
Right.
All that would be sent from then on out was basically requests for training and reinforcement to the house and no replies.
Right. Up until recently, but no, because they
so
didn't
just to
even
be
bother.
clear, from the Mechanicus point of view, they were like, we can just wait them out until they run out of ammunition and they need repairs, and then they'll come crawling back to us. And there's like a note like every 5 years, like, we could just wait them out. We could just wait them out. And then it's like that person's grandson checks in. It's like, we could just wait them out.
I love how, like, over 1,000 years, all these different generations of note takers.
It's more like 3,000 to 4,000 years. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, all this time, nobody's gone back to fact check anything before. It's like, the strategy was to wait them out. Like, how much longer are we going to wait them out? It's been thousands of years at this point.
They showed up.
My lord, the Brexit rituals. We must perform them.
Okay, monkeys on the ladder. I get it. Okay, is there anything from Vanensarg's perspective? I doubt it, but I'm going to ask.
I mean, you have the Mechanicus perspective from the Mechanicus.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything in there regarding current thought process in dealing with Vanensarg at this point in the resumption of services?
I mean, I think that the answer to that is that there is a lot of controversy up to the point that Imagos was literally debrained.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, just to be clear, this world has more Magoses than normal because every Titan requires its own independent Magos, so they keep a nice stockpile of them around here. Big officer corps. You know, a good military requires a huge number of officers.
Yes, and running is
a
important.
high officer to enlisted ratio.
And running is an important metric in determining how well one can lead.
Wow. Well, that's the U.S. military, not the Adeptus Mechanicus. Instead, how well you pray is how well you are evaluated for your skills.
I'm not failing, or no, I was going to say something about failing to see the difference, but I get it. Lastly, is there any information available regarding the workforce change order?
I think that's going to require a completely different role.
I will do it.
Okay.
Lore, advantage.
Roll. I like how you're going through their records rather than just calling Geefanovius or something. Or just landing and asking. Okay.
I'm here.
Is this 26? Is that the new roll?
That's the new one, yes.
Okay. Yeah, so...
And I'm out of fate points, so I have to take what I get.
Here is the timeline of events from the Mechanicus perspective, right? The Mechanicus got your proposal and made a tentative acceptance of it while they were in discussion about the grudges of the miners, shortly after the proposal was accepted, a second proposal arrived from Gifanovius in his position as the head of, God, what did you call it? Physical Salvation Services. So as their point of contact. As we already know, when the Mechanicus on this planet does business, they like to have smooth and easy conversations with people that they know, right? They only trade with people that they know and limit their interactions with outsiders and the wider world. So Gifanovius is like a highly rated, highly trusted guy because he was on his way to becoming a priest of Mars, and instead has now become like a contractor. Gifanovius explained it all from his point of view and then left a little note at the end that was like, haha, but we could save a lot of money if we just turn them all into servitors. Then we wouldn't have to, pay to feed them and all of this stuff. And the Magoses spent several hours discussing that and then decided that that was a good idea, actually, and they would go kill all the miners and turn them into servitors. And so they dispatched a Skitarii attack force to eliminate them and replace them. So the guys on the moon are being taken down to the World Forge, which is the lava pits that were deep inside. They were the ones that were 14,000 Baneblade lengths into the earth. And then they are sending a new specialty Ogren-only servitor force to test the efficacy of Ogren servitors in mining operations.
I think Velamris is going through all the different sheafs and reams of paper and whatnot of all of this, and he's just like, maybe I should be in the servitor business. Okay.
So Physical Salvation Services is now in the servitor business. Because if you recall, what they were supposed to do is provide healthcare and cybernetic limb replacement, which the servitors still need.
Yeah.
It's just that the pit stops will be a little bit more pit stoppy and less health checkup now.
Yeah, well, they're going to be more mechanical service than they are dealing with human beings.
They're more machine than man now.
Yes, twisted and evil.
Now, here's the important question. Are we still turning a profit through Gifanovius?
Yes.
That is a great question.
Yeah.
And we are still skimming our same percentage off the top.
He's actually, because you don't have to pay for food services now or any sort of preventive medical care, you're actually making more money.
Yeah.
As long as you don't care about the cost in human lives, which is technically already paid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bottom line, again, this is a Warhammer 40K Dark Office comedy. The bottom line is that you're making about 2% more money by killing all of them and turning them into robots than if you didn't.
And I think there's a small part of Velamris that is like, this wasn't the way to go about this, but it's been gone about. And so he'll take one final folder, close it, put it back in the drawer, close the drawer, and walk away.
He's locked in. All right. We are going to take our final break, and when we get back, we'll be entering the last hour. Although saying we're entering the last hour, 15 minutes in the hour is a little off kilter, but we're running behind today.
Because I need to finish the actual point of finish time. So
Yep. We're probably going to wrap up pretty quickly here.
I will say that for the benefit of the group, that Velamris will provide a synopsis of the information he's gathered.
I do want to say, audience at home, it is Mother's Day.
Oh,
now, you might think, what does Mother's Day have to do with Warhammer 40K? Well, let me tell you. Warhammer 40K tells you how powerful mothers are. All right? They couldn't allow the Primarchs to have a mother in Warhammer 40K, or the Horus Heresy tragedy would not have happened. The whole thing could have been inverted with the power of their mom, but instead, the Chaos Gods were so afraid of moms, they had to launch all those little babies out into space. And, just in case you thought, that's just one mom, what about the mother of all Eldar? Now, will a naked Leman Russ wolfman his way into the Garden of Nurgle and save her? Probably not, but it could happen. and then she could save the entire Eldar race. It's technically possible in the in the same way that Commissar Yarick exploding randomly could also happen.
Oh man, what's the Eldar god's name now? I can't think of it.
Asha.
Aisha, yeah, that's what I was
that's
talking
it.
about.
Yeah. Well, that's what I meant. Yeah, because I know I'd heard the name once or twice before. I just couldn't remember. But she was the one that's in Nurgle's garden, which I find amusing because allegedly he poisons everything, and she's like, "But here's the cure."
Yeah. So just know in Warhammer 40K, moms are OP. That's all I'm saying.
As they should be.
All right. So Velamris gives you guys the download on the planet as to what's going on from the Mechanicus point of view. I would propose that maybe you figure out what your next step is, and then we'll award XP so that I'll be able to plan for whatever crazy shit you do next week or next time we meet in 48 days.
God, I hope it's not that long again, but we're starting to act like the Oaths of Indosteel crew.
Brutal.
So what do you propose, Velamris?
Well, we know things from the Adeptus Mechanicus side. I think it doesn't. Oh, in that information, was there any sort of like a improvement plan or things that they need to do in order to resume service?
Yeah,
or was
there's
it just
no
simply
PIP in there. It's
okay?
They'll pay for their time with their time.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just that accrued debt of time.
Yeah. So effectively, yeah, I think, yeah. So we could probably try to argue for a reduction in the amount of time owed as far as the back debt. But in order to do that, we would have to provide something from the Vandensargs to the Mechanicus.
I think it would be very important to understand what happened at Vandensarg first.
Yes.
Because
we need more information.
If we can dispute anything or if we can find some way to support the position that maybe that purge needed to happen, maybe that could be used as leverage to reduce that time owed or whatever. Like, I don't know if that could give us some leverage to make things more favorable for Vandensarg.
I think getting the Vandensarg perspective on what led up to the purge is going to be a key piece of information. I mean, a lot of what we see here, I think, revolves around that purge.
They performed a vital function for a force to purge like that. It would need to be something necessary, right? I mean, just looking at things from my perspective, I mean, institutionalized cowardice or incompetence or signs of corruption. Like there's real reasons to do that sort of thing.
And usually once it's happened, they're covered up as well.
They were using local resources and materials instead of using prescribed materials. That may have been part of the catalyst for the purge. There was a change in doctrinal thinking. These two things may or may not be interrelated.
Maybe we could, I can try to get you an opportunity to look at the records that they're willing to show us of surrounding the event and the decision to do that purge. And
I have that opportunity. I will absolutely take it. The more information we can gather before having anybody sit down and meet and discuss changes and terms will be super beneficial.
If we can show and justify in some way that purge was necessary for reasons that the Mechanicus did not have the information to calculate the same necessary outcome that Vandensarg did and provide that necessary information for the calculation.
Perhaps a time sensitivity concern.
I
needing to do the purge before consulting the ADMEC.
But I think it would be a huge help in making this piece, because as it stands, there's no way they're going to be able to pay all of that time off before landing. Right? It's just not going to happen. We need to find some way to help Vandenbar bargain to get that return of services in both directions.
Indeed.
I can try to send a message to my new friend at 12.
Okay.
I think I'll send him a message with, unless somebody thinks that this is a bad idea or it needs to be changed, stating that that the Darkwind trading house, as the Militant trading house, that as a militant rogue trader, understanding the value of maintaining and augmenting, force against the enemies of the Imperium, has decided to take an interest in assisting in a peaceful resolution and a quick resolution, so that House Vandensar can get back to murdering, the enemies of the Imperium. And in order to do that, we would like our record keeper to come by and try to understand what happened in a way where we might be able to help improve their bargaining position.
I agree. I think that's what we need to do. Sister, do you have any input you'd like to share?
No, I think that's a good way to go.
Okay. Everybody gets 50 XP and 3,000 solars. Any post-episode thoughts about this episode?
It absolutely was an episode.
Windows 11 sucks.
Wow.
Oh, also, running is not a good indicator of how well one can lead. Unpopular opinion that might be.
But there's also the opinion that your marksmanship determines your leadership qualities.
I've never seen that, but that doesn't surprise me, considering the things I have seen.
Hey, that's my call out to any Marines that might be watching this.
You're telling me that a service that relies entirely on riflemen might promote people based on their rifle skills? All right. That's crazy.
Promotion should be based on potential. But we've talked about that before, so don't let me stop you, AP.
I mean, all engineering promotions are based on potential energy and kinetic energy and the interplay between those two. Your understanding of them determines whether you're promoted or not.
Well, I won't make it very far.
Don't worry about it. That's a physics joke. Don't worry about it. It's a 100 level physics joke as well. It's not a very good one.
Well, the only thing I know about potential kinetic energy is one becomes the other.
Yes. That's correct.
That's about all I know.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's not really much more to say. That's correct. All right. We got to let James get back to work here. So we'll be calling it a night or a day, friends at home. And we'll see you in 48 and a half days for the next episode.
An Imperial night.
Wow. Okay.